The Roaring 20s was a decade like no other. The automobile changed the American landscape. Its most visible effect was the construction of paved roads suitable for driving in all weather. The automobile also launched the rapid construction of gasoline stations, repair shops, public garages, motels, tourist camps, and shopping centers. Architectural styles also changed, as new houses typically came equipped with a garage or carport and a driveway. It also gave families the opportunity to vacation in new and faraway places. It allowed both women and young people to become more independent through increased mobility. Communism is an economic and political system based on a single-party government ruled by a dictatorship. In order to equalize wealth and power, communists would put an end to private property, substituting government ownership of factories, railroads, and other businesses. A communist party formed in the United States, and several thousand radicals joined, including some from the industrial workers of the world. When several dozen bombs were mailed to government and business leaders, the public grew fearful that the communists were taking over. U.S. Attorney General A. Mitchell Palmer took action to combat this Red Scare. In May 1920, Sacco and Vanzetti were arrested and charged with the robbery and murder of a factory paymaster and his guard in South Braintree, Massachusetts. Sacco and Vanzetti claimed they were innocent, but the jury still found them guilty and sentenced them to death. Protests rang out in the United States, Europe, and Latin America. Many people thought Sacco and Vanzetti were mistreated because of their radical beliefs. Others believed it was because they were immigrants. By 1924, KKK membership reached 4.5 million. The Klan believed in keeping blacks in their place, destroying saloons, opposing unions, and driving Roman Catholics, Jews, and foreign-born people out of the country. KKK members were paid to recruit new members into their world of secret rituals and racial violence. Though the Klan dominated state politics in many states, by the end of the decade, its criminal activity led to the decrease in power. Strikes became more and more common as workers wanted shorter working hours and higher wages. One strike, for example, was the Boston Police strike. The Boston Police had not been given a raise since the beginning of World War I. Massachusetts Governor Calvin Coolidge called out on the National Guard. He said, "There is no right to strike against the public safety by anybody, anywhere, anytime." The strike ended, but members weren't allowed to return to work. New policemen were hired instead. People praised Coolidge for saving Boston, if not the nation, from communism and anarchy. In 1919, the United Mine Workers of America got a new leader, John L. Lewis. In protest of low wages and long work days, Lewis called his union's members out on a strike on November 1st, 1919. General Palmer obtained a court order sending the miners back to work. Lewis then declared it over, but he quietly gave word for it to continue. In defiance of the court order, the mines stayed closed for another month. President Wilson appointed an arbitrator or judge to put an end to the dispute. The coal miners received 27% wage increase, and John L. Lewis became a national hero. The years from 1920 to 1929 were prosperous ones for the United States. Americans owned around 40% of the world's wealth, and that wealth changed the way most Americans lived. The average annual income rose more than 35% during this period, from $522 to $705. People found it easier to spend all that extra income and then some. With new goods flooding the market, advertising agencies no longer just informed the public about products and prices. Now they hired psychologists to study how to appeal to people's desires for youthfulness, beauty, health, and wealth. Brand names became familiar from coast to coast, and luxury items now seemed like necessities. Consumers continued to buy, and productivity increased as businesses expanded. Most Americans focused their attention on the present, with little concern for the future. What could possibly go wrong with the nation's economy? Life seemed easier and more enjoyable for thousands of Americans. From the look of things, there was little warning of what was to come.